Reflections of the Ocean, forward. I want to thank my brother, Brian Scholl, for being a huge help with me, giving me advice throughout the trip. When I had no one to turn to, I always knew I could call you, and you'd give me your honest opinion. I also want to shout out Jill Kelly for helping me organize the book into a shareable format. I appreciate your open-mindedness and creativity that helped this project come to fruition. Also, huge shout out Alex Ariaza. These stories were left sitting collecting dust until you decided to bring them back to life with your support on the editing. Really do appreciate you getting me jump started there, brother. I was in stagnancy there for a little bit. Just a heads up. If you see a star at any point in the story, that means at the end of the book, which there is an wow, I'm finding grammatical errors now that I'm reading it out loud, but I think I corrected this one. So basically, there's going to be a star in the book. If you're reading along with us, there is a star at a number of times in the book after a phrase or word, whatever it may be. And at the end of the book, I go through and explain those. So, and if there's one star, then the explanation at the bottom has one star on it, and so on and so on. So, yeah. And this gives me a chance to explain more at the end of the book without creating spoilers in the middle of the story. Sailing is not the easiest way to move around in the world. There are many, many lessons to be had while navigating waters in a vessel propelled by wind. There will be ranting in this book, although I've tried to balance the amount of it. And I started writing this on the way to Cuba from Key West, also known as Cayo Hueso by the Spanish. I'll just add that basically it was a native burial ground before the Spanish came. So when they came, they saw all the bones. That was why they called it Key West, or Cayo Hueso, which means bone key. My journaling began when we were headed south where the Gulf Stream flows east. So we were in the Straits of Florida, which is far off the coast of the mainland. I kept the journal going whenever I needed a moment of reflection. It helped me a lot to be able to find balance in the chaos. Ultimately, this is just a developed form of my personal journal. These are things that were documented and at the moment, in my opinion, of the occurrences that ensued. All names and places have been changed, and I am in no way, shape, or form slandering anyone's character by publishing this book. Prologue. A Journey Was Born. And mind you, I'm actually reading the version just before I published it, so my prologue might be your chapter 1, but anyways. Prologue, a journey was born. The open ocean will give you time to meditate on your thoughts. I feel like I finally found a moment to reflect among all of the madness. This boat is cruising with the tiller handle tied down in an ideal position to continue the course. This is our analogous version of autopilot. The jib sheet goes through a series of pulleys to where if the wind pulls the sail in one direction, the tiller is given the force needed to correct and stay on course. The wind is calm beyond belief from what the captain has told me about the Straits of Florida. It is expected to become choppy soon, though, just when I thought we couldn't add to this rather arduous adventure. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start with some additional context, the backstory, if you will, on how this adventure came about. At the time of writing this book, I had attained experience to the level of being a first responder for 11 years. 4 of those included being a paramedic on an ambulance in a high-volume 911 system. The year this book takes place, 2021, was especially tough. I was dealing with treating a massive amount of COVID patients, overworked and underpaid. I was pouring from the most empty cup imaginable. I was desperate for an escape. It was when I was working on this ambulance when the idea of a sailing adventure first sparked my mind, a chance to escape the daily grind and reconnect with myself through an epic journey. I found a loophole in my EMS contract by filing for FMLA. Luckily, I told my friend about the issue I was having, not being able to get off work. He referred me to a psychologist, and I paid cash for a couple sessions, went through the hoops, and found out this psychologist was cool enough to sign off on my paperwork that allowed me be free of the grind, the daily grind. Now, I was criticized for doing this, mostly by my family. I hate to call out my family, but, you know, okay. But they had no idea what I was going through. A lot of people had no idea what I was going through and what a lot of us were going through. And, you know, when they say, like, the whole time everyone was like, yeah, man, thank you so much, first responders. Like, thank you guys, because we were going through it. Anyways, yeah, they said, you know, you shouldn't do that. FMLA is reserved for people who really need it. You should just stay and work. And wow, I'm sorry, Dad, I called you out on the book. I really do appreciate my father, by the way. He is a really good father. He's a very strong man, and, you know, is still hustling to this day, 68 years old. So shout out to you, Pops. Thank you for the support throughout all of this as well. He was there in St. Pete, you know, when I needed him the most, as well as a lot of other communities. But let me get back on topic. Well, despite criticism from my family, I went through with it. This gave me 3 months off of work, no questions asked. I took it all in bulk. I decided to take this blessing and do something epic with it. I pondered my options. I had a friend in Mexico who said they would welcome me with open arms, so I figured, why not head that way? My birthday was nearing, and I longed for adventure, counting the days until my extended vacation. This idea of a journey was starting to become even more and more attractive, and I just needed to figure out all the details and fill them in. So I looked on this group I had recently joined called Sailboat Hitchhikers and Crew Connections to see if anyone or someone was planning the same trip. I connected with Captain Manuel Veredas. He had a sailboat he recently brought back to life after being given it for free. This man was full of tales and sailing knowledge, it seemed, and was just the adventurer I was looking for. He hails from Caracas, Venezuela, originally. He tells me he sailed all around Cuba and then some. I took his word for it. He came over to my tiny home on his retro KLR 250 after we chatted for a bit. He asked me, are you sure you're up with this? Are you sure you're up for this? A lot of people just say they are and they don't go through with it. I told him right there, I said, yes, I am fully committed. And we shook hands. And I knew this would be the adventure of a lifetime. All right, that was the prologue. That was the prologue. That was the opening up to the story. Thank you guys for watching. I just want to say, one sec. I need this coffee. I just wanted to say that I made a lot of mentions in the prologue. You know, a lot of people I was grateful for. Ultimately, everybody I mentioned in that prologue, I am grateful for. I am very grateful for. And it's, I got a lot from this experience. And as you guys are going to hear in the following chapters, shit gets crazy. But anyways, thanks you guys for watching, and we'll see you on